Alright, Iron Fist versus Venom. Alright, let's get to talking. Alright, first let's talk strengths and weaknesses, abilities, and, stuff like that. Alright, let's start with Venom. Venom is an alien substance that got on this guy who, the main story, like, we're not talking about, like, the movie Venom or anything. The main story was there was this man, and, he, found, like, a alien spacecraft or whatever, and was messing with a black ball kind of thing that was just floating there that looked, for some reason, I don't know, I guess curiosity killed the cat, and he pretty much, like, went to go touch it. And this stuff, this substance, this kind of ooze, jumped out on him and wrapped all around him and pretty much, infected him and, wrapped around him and made him resemble a dark Spider-Man and get sharp teeth and become a notorious villain named Venom. Venom is often misunderstood, though. There's different sides of Venoms and different, stories and side stories and different characters of Venom, and some of them are actually good guys. Like, I heard that Venom was trying to save babies one time, and he was putting them in his mouth because he couldn't carry them because he was jumping from building to building. And Spider-Man thought that he was eating the babies, so that's where the whole fight between Venom and Spider-Man started. But, that's just urban comic book nerd myth. But, well, I don't know, myths, they could be true, they could not be, who knows. Alright, so, yeah. Venom is pretty much super strong, he is just, normal human being that's, surrounded by this goo that, is like skin tight, but it often moves around, like it'll be bubbling and stuff while he's walking. And he can make his goo stretch out and lift him in the air or create a big wave of, like, goo behind him. And the goo can pretty much infect anybody, but the goo often comes back to Venom because he doesn't like losing goo, I guess. So, I don't know. So he could make others of himself pretty much just by touching you and, like, holding you for, like, more than 2 seconds, and the goo would crawl on you. Or he could probably just throw little goo bombs at you. But if you're strong enough, and, the goo gets bigger once a little spot can hit you, and then it just keeps growing. But if you, like, rip it off you before it gets too big, then you'll be alright, and it'll just crawl back to Venom. But Venom has extremely sharp teeth, sharp fingernails, and he becomes super strong, and in a way he becomes insane. Because this ooze, this goo stuff, is an organism that needs a host to survive. It likes to latch itself onto a host and take over their life and, live as this organism. So it is your choice. You are still yourself. But the goo has a big, impact on the way you think and stuff like that. And it's often very hard to give it up. You get addicted to it. You like the power, and it feels right when you have the venom on you. So that's Venom. Venom's been known to be able to super leap, like leap over big things, throw very super hard punches, infect other people with his goo, shoot, goo webs and stuff. And he's been known to have, a really long, extended, elongated jaw with a lot of sharp teeth that he could easily probably bite someone's head off with. Alright, Venom versus Iron Fist. Iron Fist is, the result of a super soldier kind of experiment thing going on there. Well, yeah, something around like that. And, he's a very, worthy or whatever, kind of like, almost like a ninja kind of kung fu kind of guy. And he's learned these powers and stuff, and he's learned how to channel, because he's a deeply disturbed individual, really. He's learned to channel all of his hatred and anger and rage and frustration. He channels it all into his fist, and his fist becomes surrounded with a kind of electrical blue fire, kind of, and his fist swells up. And he's been known to be able to, split a human being in half with his, strength in his hand, and he's been known to be able to punch through steel with his super fist. Not to mention he has some pretty good fighting skills himself. About the strength of, a normal, really strong person, like not your average man, but your average, above average strong man is about how strong he is without his swollen up fist. And it's known that if he makes his fist bigger and doesn't get to hit somebody, it hurts. So that's actually one of his weaknesses. Like, if you kept making him dodge you, like he was trying to hit you, it starts to hurt him if he doesn't hit somebody and his fist swells up for a while. And that's proven. You think I'm lying? Look it up. In the Deadpool comic, Talkin' Jive and Taking Lives, the 70s style comic book, he says it right in there. He's like, ow. He says, and he's like whimpering and stuff and whining. He's like, oh, come on, I made my fist bigger or whatever. And he's like, and if I don't get to hit somebody, it really hurts. And you can definitely see that as being a weakness for him, because he would just keep getting more angry and making his fist get stronger. I mean, the more he can't hit somebody, the more it hurts him. So that's a big weakness there. All right. So that's both of them, really. All right, so let's make them battle. Who would win? All right. It's not who wins, it's how they win. So I'm going to start this off by saying who wins to begin with. Iron Fist wins. Let's talk. Alright, so Iron Fist and Venom would pretty much just meet up in a room, I guess, or outside or somewhere. I will say it's in a room, like an old abandoned place. And Venom would, extend his jaw and stick his tongue out and kind of do a growly kind of screech, slimy kind of, like a kind of weird noise. And then Iron Fist would probably just turn around and be like, what the f? And then before he could say fuck, it would like kind of like cut him off, and he'd just kind of like just do the F sound, like or whatever. And then he'd just probably turn around, and Venom would start coming toward him and like be all like hang. Well, first he'd be like kind of on the side of the wall, just hanging there, acting all crazy with this slime all flying down his head and stuff, like because he's kind of upside down in a way. And then he'd just jump off and just look at him with, I can just imagine that being super creepy. Like, imagine Venom just looking over with his blank white eyes with the big, I can't believe it, I'm actually freaking myself out. Just kidding. But yeah, so he just looks over with his big weird eyes and with his mouth open like that, the slime everywhere, just stares dead at you. And you know he sees you, and you don't know what's going on in his head. You don't know if this thing's like as dumb as an animal or super smart. It just has that dumb look in its eye, but you always know it knows something that you don't. And he always looks like he's going to say something, but he mainly never does. Then he'd probably just, go over and approach, what's his name, Iron Fist. And, he'd probably just at first shoot some, like, goo webs or whatever out of his hand, and it would get on Iron Fist, and Iron Fist would just be like, or whatever, and just rip it off before it got too late. And then Venom would just take it back, go up and just punch, go to punch Iron Fist in the face. Iron Fist would just, dodge it and then run over to the corner and just, like, go behind a wall and just sit there and, like, kind of breathe heavily for a second. And then his fist would, charge up, and he'd get his, like, super fist going on there. Hold on. And then it would get all, like, fiery and stuff. And then he'd go back, into the entrance of the doorway that he was on the other side of. And Venom would be standing right there, and, Iron Fist would be like, what the hell? And then he'd probably just go to punch Venom, and he'd punch Venom right in the stomach. And all the goo in that area, since there's, like, a flaming fist there, would just, separate from that area. And you'd hear, like, the screeching noise coming from it, like, or something weird. I'm really tired right now, so my voice is sounding weird, and I can't really do the sound effects good. But, so, like, separate there, and it would be really, really swollen right there, like, super bad, because the goo would, stop the fist so that it wouldn't kill the person inside, but it hurt the goo enough so that it would move, and it would burn it. And then, right there, it would probably get, like, the goo would get all crusty in that area and just cover it again, and he'd be hurt, and Venom would probably just hold that, and then, screech to the sky in pain and be all pissed off and run over. And, then some stuff would happen. Punches would be, go back and forth and stuff. And eventually, Venom would just, channel a lot of his goo and just shoot it all over Iron Fist no matter how hard he tried. And it would just cover Iron Fist, go over his whole freaking body, and, be like about to infect him and make him another Venom. Then, Iron Fist would channel all that freaking anger and frustration from this into his fist. It would burn through the goo, and then he'd use that strength and just rip all the goo off of him, and some of it would, like, burn off and throw it on the ground. And Venom would just screech and look at his little baby goo and be all pissed off. And then Iron Fist would just come over and super punch him right in the face. Yeah, I wish I could be more detailed, but I gotta go. Peace.